This is Coffee Number 5. I'm your host, Lara. Hi everyone, welcome back to Coffee Number 5. And yes, I have cut my hair. It's shorter today. So, I go through the industry events and you get to know those people that you see around, but also you have those people that you become friends with. And those friends that they're so full of information, and you know that they are, maybe it's not business for you or for them, but you know that you can always tap in and say, hey, knock knock, I want to know what you're doing, I want to know what you're up to, and can I learn this from you? So I met this lady, Susanah, and she's amazing, and I mean her, and so humble, and she has an incredible experience that every time I talk to her, I'm impressed because there is something new to learn. And I have no idea what we're going to be talking about today because there is so much to talk about with her that I'm just welcoming her. Just welcome, Susanah. How
I'm
are
thrilled
you?
to be here. I've been listening to this podcast for years, and yes, we have become friends because there was an energy match. But when you keep running into people, and yeah, you are always up to something new, evolving. So I'm so happy that we're making this time
But
together.
also, you're really good. I know I'm good too, but you're good to keep in touch. There are a
Yes,
lot of people that they don't know about that. And that's one of the things that I think is so important in the industry, that when you make relationships, keep in touch.
totally.
Don't wait until the next event to connect.
Your network is your net worth,
Yeah,
you know?
absolutely. So,
And
Susanna,
yes.
I want to know how your career started. Where do you started? Because you end up in Spotify, you were everywhere that it was at the new tech, and now you're doing super exciting things too. So how did your life evolve to be you in the new thing always?
I will say I do self-describe myself as a futurist because I have been good now in my, career of 13 years, of always sort of seeing where things are going and percolating and being really drawn to getting there first and helping kind of with the building and education and early adoption. So that really is the through line of my whole career. I started my first job actually working in television on the
Okay.
agency side. And this is in 2012. And even in that year, I worked in TV for about a year and I went straight into mobile
Okay.
because I just knew when we were already issuing what they call ADUs, like deficiency units for basically not hitting these TV delivery numbers. And everyone, I mean, this is even pre really the proliferation of
I,
internet
I'm
being on
I'm gonna
phones, but
put something out there before we continue the conversation, because something
yes,
that I really admire about Susanna and all her journey is that is combining creativity with data, and it's something that I see in the industry that now it's every time that I see it, it's getting more separated when it needs to be creating becoming more one thing.
absolutely. Absolutely. And yes, I think sort of leaning into, where things are going. I was early at Spotify, sort of pre the podcast and sort of audio revolution that sort of started in like 2018. And that was where I started to realize I have more than just a liking for beauty. I'm very passionate about beauty. I am one of four girls. I have three sisters. The tradition of going to the beauty salon. I love to do makeup, I love to do nails. I'm just obsessed with all things beauty, so that's a big part of my connection with people and curiosity and proclivities as a woman. And as I was at Spotify, I was realizing no one was really talking to beauty brands. And I thought, why are we not working? I was working on partnerships with, the big Nissan motor companies, entertainment companies, big retail, but no one had really cracked or touched beauty within the audio space. Even though when kind of beauty and audio in the getting ready moment, it's so complementary to that moment. It's so intrinsic. It sort
Abs-
of soundtracks that moment.
Absolutely. But I
Yes.
think
So,
that comes from, I think beauty industry took a lot of hints from the fashion industry. And the fashion
for
industry,
sure.
honestly, fashion industry doesn't work on radio or television very well.
It's very hard to tell, not show with things
Yes.
like fashion and beauty. But I will say there's so much you can convey sonically. And we
Mhm.
started to like really crack that. And now, as you see, video podcasts in this format
Yeah.
is booming. So it is visual now. And you can kind of, as the consumer now, kind of on and off switch how you'd like it to work with your day. But yeah, that then led me into kind of a full swing into the gaming space. So then I kind of chased the 2022, 2023, the metaverse sort of like huge hype cycle. So I went and helped beauty brands early adapt into that space, worked with Cody and Shiseido, NARS Cosmetics, and then kind of leading to me to where I am now, which is where I see the industry now swinging into what is real and wanting more unfiltered, raw, behind the scenes content. We are dealing with a major proliferation of AI, and with that is coming just content that is like inherently non-human and more automated and more algorithmically driven. So I am now at BeReal. And what we're doing at BeReal is building out brand partnerships and really using the canvas of BeReal, which is really rooted in everyday authenticity. No filtering, no algorithmic kind of driven content. It's really about just sharing your real life with friends and actually getting back to your other human life. It's everyone is so hyper digital now. And I think there's really doesn't exist places across social anyway that is really a true, raw, real kind of moment in time. So
So how can
that's
you
what I'm building now.
how can you monetize something of being real? Are you be able to create with work with creators? Are you because you are basically competing with TikTok and that you have this the social commerce. So
Yes.
how do you can compete as a
So it's very
platform?
early innings for all things. So BeReal
Mhm.
is a French founded social media app. And it really took the world by storm. It was founded by two French entrepreneurs. It went completely gangbusters, SNL skits, like massive across the zeitgeist. Everyone is talking about it. It is a global social media app as well. So one of our fastest growing markets right now is Japan. We're headquartered in
Mhm.
Paris, France. So we're really just starting now to build out a 2.0 version of the company. BeReal was
Mhm.
acquired last year by another French company called Voodoo. And
Mhm.
now sort of with this new kind of, parent company, fresh new set of resources, engineering, I just joined the team in January. So we're really kind of now taking this, what we know, which is true for especially the generation that we serve. It's a lot, very, very Gen Z heavy. So 18 to 27 year olds is 71% of the daily usage of
Mhm.
the BeReal app. This is an audience that wants more authenticity. They want to see the raw, they want to see the behind the scenes, all of that. So we're kind of now letting brands enter the native feed of BeReal. So you can kind of buy it like traditional paid media within the feed of BeReal as you're sort of surfing what you post and what brands and creators that you post that day. So we have now kind of opened up the native feed to paid media, and then yes, we're also working with influencers as well. So we've built out a cohort of kind of top BeReal creators and folks that have posted and kept their streak for now over 3 years. And we have them, we're tapping them for campaigns to either post organically or use them for UGC
Well,
assets
with
that
a
they can
new
run.
platform, you have like two challenges. One is to get those creators that they're going to be posting content and amplify it to their networks. But also, how do you get people to know about Be Real?
I know. It's so everyone, I would say the Be Real has a really, really, I mean, there's a lot of awareness for the app, and a lot of brand love for the app. So like I said, I joined in January. So I've had at this point, maybe not 1,000, but hundreds and hundreds of conversations now at this point, kind of talking and re-educating on the opportunity with Be Real. So we're kind of taking a phased approach with kind of reinvigorating the app. We're investing a lot in actual features of the app. But in addition to that, showing up at key cultural moments. So we've sponsored a music festival this year. We're planning an Art Basel moment. We were at Cannes this year and did a party. So it's like we kind of have a two-pronged approach when it comes to both the consumer and business side awareness, and really just kind of getting our paid media off the ground last quarter. So very early days, but the momentum
But that's what
is
is exciting. I
it
mean,
is. And I feel like every day I'm just affirmed more and more by also what I'm seeing around just the industry of this just craving for more real, authentic, not like showing that it's not AI that made this or that it's behind this. I think that there is kind of a
but
rewriting that's
but
going on.
also what you my concern is that when you work with brands, brands already have their budgets so diversified that they're going to be doing this, and this. So it's a hard job yours to convince someone that you're gonna if you diversify your budget for a new opportunity, you can win a lot more. So
Absolutely.
how do you approach the sales? Because I think that for anyone who's in platforms, anyone who even is in business or selling their own brand, is sales are hard.
I know it is hard. And it's hard too in this state because we are still kind of building up the tech. So what's really easy with logging into TikTok or your Meta self-serve is, if you have your assets and you have your URL where you want to go, you can be live in a campaign in, minutes.
Yeah.
So we're not there yet. But what has been amazing is the opportunity for, and especially on the beauty side, which is that's kind of the beauty and fashion, the verticals that I support. There's already a lot of brands that have been sort of accruing an organic presence on BeReal, actually. Elf Cosmetics, Dior, Caudalie. There's just a handful of brands that have continued to sort of nourish the organic engagement on the platform. So now, and things like paid media are actually like, oh, this is finally something that's available. So we can now kind of
What
continue
about
on the
social commerce? That's something that you guys are interested in growing in the future.
absolutely social commerce, self-serve, a real kind of like firm pixeling solution where you can see kind of one-to-one ROI. That's all coming. I mean, but I would say right now where we're seeing success is mid to upper funnel, more awareness driven, things like brand lift, consideration. And really, the brands that are running with us now have this sort of canvas all to themselves. So the share of voice is really high, especially in the US, because we really just kind of launched. And so we're breaking into like the big retail and beauty, but I think that's another thing too. And we've seen it with Elf Cosmetics. It's just as one example because we have a smaller kind of overall reach, but the communities that are on BeReal, it's a very engaged audience. So 70% of the audience posts every single day. So it's a very leaned in, sticky, daily active usership. So the brands that again have nurtured that have a very leaned in community. So I do side by side comparisons all the time of brands that I see kind of in the wild on BeReal posting from their organic channel and comparing that engagement to that what I see on TikTok or Meta maybe for the same campaign. And the BeReal engagement is so strong. I mean, in fact, for the Elf kind of Halo Glow primer, it exceeded what I saw on TikTok and Meta from likes and
Do you
interactions and
think,
comments.
because right now your target audience is pretty narrow, as you say, 18 to 27, do you think that this will expand the platform goal?
We're sticking with right now in terms of like net new growth with the Gen Z audience that's already really consistent. But I do think, like I said, we're kind of one of the newer markets now, like in terms of where the evolution is happening. Asia and Europe actually launched first. So seeing now they are starting to accrue kind of a wider range of net new users, especially in the Japanese and French market. So I don't know. I think there's an application here for all ages, but where we're really seeing and where we're focusing on and the moments and bets that we're placing from a user acquisition and marketing side are in that like very, 18 to 27 Gen Z college campuses. That's kind of where we're placing our bets for growth.
So I see that there is a lot of experience now for Gen Z. I don't know if it's because of living this, my own kids, they were during COVID, they lost part of their teenager years, basically. So this Gen Z wants to explore, wants experiences. So how do you work with the platform and with brands to create experiences?
We're doing this really cool like scavenger hunt right now across Paris. I think it's just yeah, it's creating your own cultural moments and seeing where you can kind of own them and like take over on the conversation. I think a really cool thing for Be Real going forward and things that we're getting off the ground and this is something very unique to Be Real, which is the notification. So that's kind of what put BeReal on the map is this once daily randomly timed notification that everyone sort of jumps into the app and shares their real life, what you're doing. And that's kind of the, currency for interaction. But sort of taking something like the notification now and creating kind of these like monoculture moments around that. How can we take the notification and have it go off during a sporting event or during a big cultural moment, a fashion show, and create something that's everyone in real time sort of sharing and participating in that in real life and then also on the platform because obviously that goes off to everyone across the country. So it's sort of like I think that's one area where we can really play and use that thing that's so uniquely Be Real and it's up until now, very, very untapped from a
Yeah,
brand standpoint.
college sports, this can be huge.
Yes, we have that a test coming up with a big university for that. So it's going to go
The-
off during kind of during the game in a stadium. So and we'll have kind
Okay.
of awareness sort of leading up to that. But yes, I think that is that's the thing you're seeing with other platforms too, is everything is kind of like later grams now.
Mhm.
You post your trip maybe a month later or weeks later.
Oh, I'm the worst.
I know. So nothing's really like real time anymore, which I also think is very unique to BeReal. So it's sort of this like daily moment. And for me, when I go through like my BeReals, it's nice to have, you almost have this like photo journal of a day in the life and all these moments that at the time seem mundane, but they add up to, your life, and it's cool.
So let me ask you a question. How do you use data to understand how to work on your creatives? Because for what I understand, this platform, and I've been playing for the with the platform for a little while now. What I understand is this is all about the moment. So for brands that they want to come to the platform and they have their creatives, I mean, this is disrupting everything we know about creatives from the ad side.
It is, and it's interesting. The more pixelated, rough, real, iPhone looking creatives perform the best on BeReal. So it's sort of like, reversing everything that you've known, like to your point, to work, which is kind of this really high production, glossy. Our creators that we work with for campaigns literally take their capture on their iPhone. And that's because that's what the platform, that's the canvas, you're jumping in as a user, and everything is in the native camera of BeReal. So there is no pre-uploading from your camera roll. So the brands that lean into that and build creatives that way are the ones that are winning, from click-through rate, from video completion rate. So I would say that's a really big shift. That's one thing that it's so clear that is kind of the way to approach creative. We do an amazing job helping with that from kind of end to end, either helping you tap creators to take stills or videos that we'll then reformat for brands, or we a lot of the time too can rework with for the right brand or for the right campaign. I know it's getting a lot of controversy right now, but the Sydney Sweeney American Eagle campaign, we
Oh,
worked
yeah.
on that actually. And what ran and what's still running live now in BeReal is behind the scenes shots of that photo shoot that day. So they're all taken from an iPhone and we reformatted them into paid media assets. So it looks and feels like it's at the American Eagle, Sydney Sweeney photo shoot where the product's in it, she's in the shot, but it's a very different creative than you're seeing anywhere else. So I think that's a really good example of, a very like raw things that lean into our best practices, which is being kind of raw and real, leaning into everyday moments, leaning into the behind the scenes, the humorous. These are all
And
kind of
what
working
about the
in this way.
sound? But for you,
Pardon?
what about sound and music rights?
It's so we now have an API integration with Spotify. So when you share
Okay.
your Be Real and if you're listening to a song, that will it's actually really awesome. It's a really cool way to share music. It will just sort of hyperlink right there what you're listening to on Spotify. But the best performing is also static. Static. And I just think that's sort of how it's like, Be Real isn't an app where you're kind of leaned back, long form, edutainment, algorithmically driven. Like I said, it's really just you kind of get in and get out. It's 30 minutes time spent per day, 7 sessions. So elaborate creative like is not even what we're seeing works best either. It's kind of that short, snackable, static. Video does perform well, but static is like really where kind of the hero format.
So I'm sure that you and your team are analyzing and over analyzing all the other social media platforms as well in order to see how you can be different. So how do you see that the social media world slash e-com slash no, sorry, not e-com, social commerce and uh, influencer marketing is shifting?
I just think it's all, I mean, you see it now. I mean, Instagram just feels now like a shopping catalog. It's pretty much all like my For You page is all, it's not even friends anymore. It's more of like my news now. So I think those platforms have just transformed into entertainment companies, and the brands and creators that are on there are kind of, publishers themselves within that whole ecosystem.
Well,
And
all the social media have become basically a search engine.
yes.
And I
And
think
and
that's
and
one
I love it, by the way. I do like I'm going to Europe tomorrow, and I've used a lot of my trip research through Instagram and through TikTok. So,
but I think that's one of the big differences also of BeReal, that today you are not a search platform. You cannot search in the platform.
and Lara, that's all stuff that is going to be preserved. I think the essence and the beauty of Be Real is that it's sort of, I see it as a really kind of healthy part of your digital diet where it is, again, you know what you're sharing and what you're seeing is real. You know it's 100% human, which is, hey, it's certainly not what other platforms can
Mhm.
say. And I like that it's not about keeping you trapped into the app. And I think our users really appreciate that too. I mean, the polls from our audience and what they say about Be Real, I mean,
Mhm.
over 80% where they post the most, where they're most comfortable posting, and where over 90% is where they're seeing moments with brands or creators that they're otherwise just not seeing on other platforms. Like I said, the Sydney Sweeney campaign that we ran is a perfect example because it's not a creative that would live on
Mhm.
TikTok, it wouldn't live on, Instagram. It's just sort of the behind the scenes and you see that on Be Real. So I
So,
think
what's the future? Because you're saying that the influencers that they're getting paid to create content now it's changing according to what you guys envision as the future of Be Real is completely changing because they are not going to be able to create this fancy content. It's going to be about the moment.
yes, but I think it's more than just the moment. We're sort of creating more of an ecosystem within the app now where there are things like verified profiles. There are, ways to discover other people, kind of close friends, and ways to kind of grow it's not just close friends, but sort of grow your network on Be Real. So there's more you can do within the app outside of that 2-minute notification, which is still it's basically where we see the biggest traffic spike every single day. So most of the posts kind of do happen in that 2-minute window, but there's opportunities all throughout the day for, you to jump in, see what people are sharing. People are sharing in and outside of that window. You can post up to 5 times per day now. So there's more to do outside of that. And I think longer term, we want more brands leaning into this canvas. And I think, again, we know, especially for the generation that is so consistent with Be Real, everyone says authenticity, authenticity. This is a generation that's demanding it. And I think it's a really neat channel for brands to now lean into. Again, kind of, and the brands that are having success on the organic side, we're seeing this consistently.
What
Dior,
about the
who's posting,
parents of James? Do you see that there are parents joining just to see what their kids are doing or hanging out? Do you see that there is a margin for that? Of
yes, and I think a really cool use case too, that I heard from a parent and actually a college student who uses Be Real is she's in college. She's like, it's my one thing I do every day with my dad. We always kind of jump in and it's like, hey, like I'm good. So it's sort of this like check-in touch point with maybe not someone you would text every day, but sort of like, oh, they're good, cool. And just kind of like just a very sort of solid real touch point and then checking in, checking out. So I think that's kind of like a fun, sharing it with the parent and having that tracking
and
of all the
so,
posts is really sweet.
what about with this Gen Z is growing up? They are trying to get Gen Alpha already, or are you saying we're stuck in this group?
There is actually too a Gen Alpha. I mean, the app is 13 plus. So we are seeing that too it's not where we're focusing our kind of growth efforts. But there is some natural kind of runoff to that because it's the generation right under. So they're seeing, what are the big kids doing and they want to do it too. So we do have a burgeoning teen audience as well. So yeah, that's where kind of the solid growth is happening. And again, when you sort of pair that with what we know is true about those generations too, where yes, they're, I just came from the gaming world. So this is the same generation too that
Yeah,
is expressing themselves quite regularly as an avatar, and they're very comfortable doing that.
yeah.
So you see how a platform like Be Real, where again, it is real raw, what you actually look like, and having that a part of your kind of digital diet, social diet, I actually has, I think, positive influence on, I just a personal story. I think having now worked at Be Real and just, a different approach to social and what I'm sharing, I do care less about filtering or like how picture perfect what's going up on other platforms, which I think is a healthy reset for me,
Yes,
speaking for
it
myself,
is for everyone.
you
But
know?
let me ask you a question, because a platform like this, and mostly when you're talking about young adults, requires a lot of education, and also to parents that they go and search and say, this is safe for my kids, or how it works. So how you guys approach that education for not only the parents, but also the kids, that they say, okay, mom, look, this is safe for me, and how you guys can
Right.
manage safety?
I know it's the only thing that we really take on from the brand safety standpoint is just sort of the fact that the app is maintained by, 100%. Everything is linked back to your individual phone number. Everything has to be taken natively in app. We have moderation tools where we're looking at, 24 hours a day, what's being posted. Does it have imagery that doesn't meet our kind of safety guidelines? Is there any hate speech happening, anything like that? And then we have a human moderators on top of that. So as we're starting to build this sort of, what we think is sort of a better for you social experience, it's not about wasting your time. It's really just sort of like human to human, raw, authentic daily moments and touch points. We're sort of preserving that. And I think, I think those are kind of the same things that we can convey as a platform to really any age, buyer, parent, etc. Is that we're watching the health and of the feed, but because we're not sort of driven by problematic bots or things that can kind of take you to a destination where you don't want to go, it's really just that one refresh daily feed. And the brands that we're bringing into that feed as well, we are obviously, ensuring that we're aligned with from, brand perspective, company perspective, all of that. So I think that will all start to crystallize more as we scale and start to encounter maybe some problems, but so far so good.
Oh, Susanah, thank you so much for being here today. But before we go, I have one question.
Yes.
How do you drink your coffee?
Oh my gosh. Well, I am a coffee. I love all formats of coffee. So if I'm at home, I make a cortado. I'll pull
Okay.
like a double shot and froth milk. And then when I'm out and about, I always get a cold brew. So I'm in New York City today, and I usually do cold brew with whole milk and a little honey.
Oh, thank you so much. Thank you so
So good
much
to
for
see
being
you.
here.
Thank you.
And thank you guys. And I will see you next week with more coffee number 5.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Find everything you need at larashmoisman.com or in the episode notes right below. Don't forget to subscribe. It was so good to have you here today. See you next time. Catch you on the flip side. Ciao, ciao.